You already know exactly what I'm talking about. That moment at 2 a.m. when your brain just won't shut off. You're lying there, staring at the ceiling, watching the minutes tick by, and the more you watch them, the more anxious you get. Then it becomes 3 a.m., then 4 a.m., and somewhere around 5 a.m. your alarm goes off and you feel like you've been hit by a truck before the day even starts. That's not just tiredness, that's a specific kind of suffering that touches everything. Your mood, your relationships, your focus, your body, your sense of self. And the worst part is that nobody around you really gets it. They say things like, just go to bed earlier, or have you tried melatonin, or maybe you're just stressed. And you smile and nod because what else can you do, right? But inside you're thinking, you have no idea what this is actually like. I want you to know something before we go any further. I see you. I understand what broken sleep does to a human being at a level that goes way beyond tired eyes and yawning. I understand what it feels like when sleep becomes your enemy instead of your refuge. And what I'm going to share with you today changed the way researchers, sleep scientists, and neurologists think about what's actually breaking your sleep in the first place. Before I get into the main fix, I want to quickly mention that we do have a program linked in the description below. I'm going to tell you a bit more about it at the end of this video. Most people who watch this will just keep scrolling and never take the step that could actually change things. That's fine. But if you're the kind of person who's genuinely done suffering through broken nights, the description is there. Just keep watching for now. Here's the truth, that sleep science has been quietly building toward for decades. Light is controlling your sleep far more than you realize. Not just any light. The specific quality, color, and timing of the light you're exposed to in the hours before bed is either building the perfect biological conditions for deep sleep, or it's actively sabotaging them. And for most people, it's doing the second thing, every single night, without them ever knowing. Let's paint this picture clearly because this is where it gets important. Inside your brain, there's a tiny structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Think of it as your body's internal clock. This clock is trying to do one job. It's trying to sync your entire biological system with the cycle of day and night. When it detects bright blue spectrum light, it tells your brain that it's still daytime. It suppresses a hormone called melatonin, the very hormone that makes you feel naturally sleepy, and it keeps your cortisol levels elevated so your body stays alert and ready to move. Now here's where your pain comes from. Every single evening, without realizing it, you're bathing your brain in artificial light that looks exactly like midday sunlight to your nervous system. Your phone screen, your TV, your kitchen lights, your laptop. These sources pump out short-wavelength blue light that essentially tells your suprachiasmatic nucleus that it's noon. Your brain does what it's designed to do. It keeps you awake. It keeps cortisol elevated, it delays melatonin production, and then you wonder why you can't fall asleep at night. Research has shown that blue light exposure in the evening can delay melatonin secretion by 2 to 3 hours. Think about what that actually means for your life. That's 2 to 3 hours of naturally drowsy, deeply restorative sleep biology being just deleted from your evening. You're not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do when it sees that kind of light. The problem is that evolution never anticipated LED screens. And here's the emotional weight of that reality. Because it's not just that you're tired. Chronic sleep disruption linked to evening light exposure raises your resting cortisol levels, which means you feel anxious more easily. It impairs your prefrontal cortex function, which means your emotional regulation suffers. You snap at people you love. You cry at things that wouldn't normally bother you. You feel a low-level sense of dread that you can't quite explain. You wake up and the first thought that crosses your mind is that you're already exhausted before the day begins. And you carry that weight into everything. Studies tracking people with disrupted circadian rhythms show significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, metabolic dysfunction, and even immune system suppression. This isn't a minor inconvenience. This is something that quietly dismantles the quality of your entire life, one sleepless night at a time. And you've probably been told this is just how you are, that some people are light sleepers, that your brain is wired differently. But that's not the whole story. Pattern interrupt. What if the entire fix was about what happens between 6 p.m. and the moment you close your eyes? Because here's what the research actually shows. When you systematically shift the light environment around you in the hours before sleep, your brain's melatonin production begins to normalize. Your cortisol starts its natural descent. Your core body temperature begins to drop the way it needs to for you to feel genuinely sleepy rather than just exhausted. And you begin to fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up feeling like a different human being. The nighttime lighting trick is this. In the 2 to 3 hours before your intended sleep time, you eliminate or dramatically reduce blue light from your environment and replace it with warm, amber-toned, low-intensity light. That's it. That's the core of it. But let me take you deeper because the details here are what make the difference between something that slightly helps and something that fundamentally changes your sleep. First, the color temperature of light is measured in Kelvin. Daylight and most artificial white lights fall between 5,000 and 6,500 Kelvin, which is extremely activating to your nervous system. Warm amber light, like a candle or a salt lamp, falls between 1,800 and 2,700 Kelvin. When your retinas are detecting light in that lower range during the evening, your suprachiasmatic nucleus gets the signal it needs to begin winding down. Melatonin production begins to rise naturally. Your brain starts its biological transition from wakefulness to sleep. Second, brightness matters as much as color. Even warm light at high intensity can suppress melatonin if it's bright enough. The goal in the 2 to 3 hours before bed is to keep light levels low. Think dim, think soft, think warm. Floor lamps rather than overhead lighting. Amber-tinted bulbs at 40 watts or lower. Candlelight if you have it. This is not about creating a perfect aesthetic. This is about sending a biological signal to your nervous system that says the day is ending and it's safe to let go. Third, and this is where most people fail, screens need to be handled deliberately. Your phone screen, even on night mode, still emits enough light at close range to partially suppress melatonin. The actual science here is sobering. Holding a screen 12 inches from your face is dramatically more stimulating than having the same screen across the room. Distance matters. If you must use screens in the evening, use blue light filtering glasses, activate night mode on your devices, and increase the physical distance between your eyes and the screen. Pattern interrupt. People who implement this lighting strategy consistently report falling asleep 30 to 45 minutes faster within just the first week. That might not sound like much until you multiply it across a month. That's potentially 15 to 22 additional hours of sleep per month that your body was biologically ready for but couldn't access because your light environment was sending the wrong signal. And the quality difference in that sleep is significant. More time in slow-wave deep sleep, more time in REM. The stages where your brain actually consolidates memory, processes emotion, repairs tissue, and resets your nervous system. Imagine waking up and the first thought in your head isn't dread or exhaustion. Imagine your brain feeling clear before your coffee. Imagine having emotional bandwidth to actually be present with the people you love instead of just surviving until the next time you can lie down. People who restore their circadian rhythm through light management describe it as getting a part of themselves back that they didn't even realize they'd lost. Here's a practical implementation you can start tonight. At approximately 2.5 hours before your intended bedtime, do a light audit of your home. Go room by room and identify every source of bright, cool, or white light. Replace overhead lights with lower, warmer alternatives. Get a small amber or warm-toned lamp for whatever room you spend your evenings in. Swap your regular bulbs for warm spectrum bulbs rated around 2,700 Kelvin or lower. These are available at any hardware store, and they cost almost nothing compared to what you've probably already spent trying to fix your sleep. Then, about 90 minutes before bed, put on blue light filtering glasses if you plan to use any screens. Move any screens further away from your face. Dim everything. Create an environment that biologically signals sunset to your brain. Do this consistently for 7 days, and pay attention to how your sleep begins to shift. Some people notice changes within the first 2 or 3 nights, others take a week. But the research is clear. The human nervous system responds quickly to corrected light signals because this system evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to be exquisitely sensitive to the quality of light. It wants to work correctly. You're not fighting your biology here, you're finally working with it. Pattern interrupt. This is the moment where people usually wonder if there's something deeper they need to address. And honestly, sometimes there is. Sleep architecture can be disrupted by stress physiology, nutritional deficiencies, nervous system dysregulation, and patterns of thought that activate the brain at the exact moments it needs to wind down. The lighting strategy is a foundational pillar, but genuine, lasting sleep transformation often requires addressing multiple layers of what's happening in your body and brain simultaneously. That's exactly what the program in the description below is designed to do. It goes far beyond a single tip and works with your biology systematically, addressing the physiological, neurological, and psychological factors that keep people trapped in broken sleep cycles. Most people will watch this video, feel genuinely inspired, and then do nothing. If you're still watching right now, you're already not most people. The description is there. Whether you take that step is entirely your choice, but here's what I want to leave you with. You don't have to keep waking up feeling like survival is the best you can hope for. You don't have to keep canceling things because you're too exhausted to show up for your own life. The biology of sleep is not mysterious or broken inside you. It's responsive. It's waiting for the right signals. And you now have one of the most powerful ones available to you tonight. Start with the light. Let your brain do the rest of what it already knows how to do. You've been exhausted long enough. Tonight can genuinely be different.